Hey there, so I'm going to start by making the barbecue sauce. I'm going to go ahead and take 2/3 of a cup of ketchup. Okay, and I'm going to put 1/2 cup of cider vinegar. Right, and I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and then 1 teaspoon of cumin, right, and a teaspoon of salt, and then a teaspoon of the cracked pepper. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this in a saucepan and bring it to a simmer for about 5 minutes and let that cook. And then we'll put them on the ribs. Okay, so I actually already went ahead and boiled the ribs for about 20 minutes. I skipped that part since I'm just boiling them. So it's been 20 minutes. I just took them out. 5 minutes had went by and my barbecue sauce is all good. Kept that on simmer for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a brush and start putting the barbecue rub on. This is my first time making a homemade barbecue, so I'm excited to see how it turns out. Definitely want to put a lot because I love flavor. If I'm going to eat ribs, I don't want them to be too dry. So we'll go ahead and flip them. Other side. Good. Okay, so after watching your video, I saw you suggested to check on them after like 25 or 30 minutes. So I'm definitely going to do that. That way they don't get dried out. So I'm going to go ahead and cover the ribs with this tin foil. Go ahead and put this on the top. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take them over to the oven, and I'm going to check on them in about 30 minutes and see how they are. See if I need to brown them without the tin foil after or what. So I'll assess that after 30 minutes. So next I'm going to start the French onion soup. I already have the clarified butter in this pot right here, and I went ahead and chopped up the onion. They're in slices. I kept them thin, just like you would want in a soup. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in the clarified butter. And I did 10 ounces of the onion, by the way, like the recipe said. So now we're gonna go ahead and start browning these in the clarified butter. So I'm gonna put it back on the heat. And I wanna be careful not to burn them, but I do want them brown. So I'm gonna just kind of keep an eye on them and stir them. And then next I'll be adding some beef stock to it once they start to brown. And I did make sure to keep the onions fairly long, that way, you know, it's pretty much the meat of the French onion soup. But they are thin. Okay, so I've been caramelizing the onions. They're nice and golden, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 8 ounces of the beef stock. heat. I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and then that way we can reduce it to a simmer. So I'm gonna cover all the onions. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add the chicken stock in next. 8 fluid ounces again. I'm gonna add a pinch of thyme. Do a little dash of salt. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and reduce this to a simmer, and I'm going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. So the broth is going to deglaze the onions. Okay, so I went ahead and took the ribs out of the oven. I went ahead and plated them so you could see them better. So I ended up cooking the ribs for about 30 minutes, and then I took them out of the oven, took the tin foil off the top, and then I put them back in the oven. I just kind of watched them for a little bit just to get them a little brown. I thought they looked pretty brown. I didn't want to dry them out either. So yeah, I went ahead and pre-cut an end, that way I can try it. It tastes good. I didn't know if I'd like the sauce, but I actually do. It's good. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. And the French onion soup is done. I went ahead and cut up some baguette. I'm gonna put them in here. I'm gonna go ahead and dip out some onions. Okay. Get some broth. And I'm actually making 2 right now. I'm just gonna get the broth even. Okay, so I went ahead and finished dipping out the broth and for the French onion soup. So I do have some Gruyere cheese. I'm gonna put 2 on top. Or actually, I didn't realize they'd be this little. 2 on this side too. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the oven and place it in the oven and put it on broil. Okay, so I just took the French onion soup out of the oven. It was on broil. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. Tastes really good. So I'm going to show you a close-up of it. Alright, so this is my finished product. The cheese, like I said, this is how it came. So it's really small. But yeah.